Hello everyone, this is Board Games and Bourbon. I'm Glenn Flaherty, and right now I'm going to tell you about Distilled, which is a new Euro game by Haverson Games. 1 to 4 players. Says it's 14 and over. I think it can go younger. 30 minutes per player. I have found it to be more like 20 to 25 minutes per player, but that could be because I am a grizzled veteran of playing the board games. Now, what I want to do in this video is talk about how you play the game, what it reminds me of, what it is and what it is not, who's going to like it, and some other elements that it reminds me of. I played it at 1 player, 2 player, and 4 player, so I'm definitely going to talk about the solo mode as well. Now, essentially what you're trying to do in the game is over 7 rounds, you're going to have most points by making different alcohols. And you're going to make alcohols by spending your starting resources either by the recipes, which you unlock the recipes so you can make them, and then buying the ingredients to make them. You get those cards, the ingredients, you shuffle it at the end of the round, and you pull out all but 2. Okay? And if you have in that hand of cards the ingredients you need to make the recipe, hooray, you made it. If not, there's some recipes you default to, so you're never really stuck, and you get some points. Now, along the way, what you make is going to give you benefits. The game is not so much an engine builder as much as it is an expanding list of abilities that you have access to. And they kind of trigger and trigger and trigger. Now, along the way, there are decisions on what ingredients, like you might need a sugar, but what kind of sugar? Some sugar might pay off now, some might pay off later. So let me get a little bit into that. When you start the game, you get your player board. The production on the game, by the way, is amazing. The detail. This looks like a little rick house here, which is really, really cool. You're going to start with your individual player, like a lot of games. This one here, Angus Douglas. Okay. Now, these people here give you special ingredients, special powers. Like maybe they say you get a little bit more money later or now, or you can put extra cards to age something, which makes them more valuable. You're going to start with a signature ingredient just for you. This is an ingredient only you have access to, beer barley. It's important that you have this because it's worth 4 points. And when you make something with it, you're going to get $2. Okay, 2 money, they say in the game, which I always think is funny. Like whoever says like, hey, how much does that cost? 2 money. They should have made up their own currency maybe. Okay, and then they have their own signature recipe here, single malt scotch. Okay, this is 19 points if you can make it, okay? When you make your own signature recipe, you get a tile of your color and you put it in your board and it'll trigger something else. But you get generic items. You get generic yeast, a generic barrel, a bottle, some water. And those are important. Everyone gets those. And then you have recipes that everyone has access to. So here, you can see the top 2 recipes are already checked off. You always have access to those because, you know, you might default to those, okay? But you have more expensive ones. You can look all the way at the bottom. We have brandy. Brandy only requires 2 sugars to make it, but it does require a barrel, which you have to buy a barrel, and you have to age it. And aging, depending on when you sell it, if you sell it immediately, it's not aged, but if you wait, you delay it 1 round, it's considered aging. You not only get the points for the product, which is 13, you're going to get more points for aging it. The first time you age it, you get 1 point, but if you really wait, at the end, you're going to get 15 points, which is pretty darn cool. Okay, but 2 recipes are always available. You can unlock the others. You go over here, you buy recipe cubes. They're broken into bronze, silver, and gold recipes. A bronze recipe is 2. You just take a cube and you put it somewhere. The silver is 4. You can put that in the midsection. And the gold ones that really give you points are going to cost 6 money. You put a gold there. Okay, so once you do that and you have your recipes, you can also buy ingredients. You're probably going to start off by making small, unimportant recipes like moonshine and vodka. Moonshine requires nothing. You already have the cards to do that. That'll give you 1 point and $2. So now you can start doing something. But more importantly, when you make anything, whether it be expensive or low end, you get one of these blockers, kind of like you got for your signature recipe. Then you take it and you put it on your board. Okay, now that's important because when you put it on your board has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 abilities you can unlock right away. If you put it in the first slot, you get 4 points or $1. If you put it over here, you get 2 points, or you can move signature ingredient to the pantry, meaning you can use it. Trade 1 card from the pantry with the truck. You take it, basically you take a card you have and you exchange it with a discard. 1 free ingredient, which is great because why would you want different ingredients? We're going to get to that in a second, and I'll show you. Some are free but don't give you points. Some pay, but give you points and kickbacks after you use it. What else do we have here? A free cube. I mean, come on, get a free recipe cube. Go for that gold and put it down right away. Expand your options, right? Over here, you can get a free item. Okay, again, I could get like a cheap barrel here, which does allow me to age, or I can get more expensive barrel. Not only gives me points, it gives me a round by round benefit. Like this adds extra victory points, or maybe it ages depending on what you get. And then over here it says you can upgrade your factory or get 3 points. Upgrades on the factories you can also build. They're kind of like modifiers, and you're trying to find cards that synergize. Okay, so you're making these things, you're buying ingredients. In the beginning, you can buy these inexpensive ingredients. I can get more yeast, okay? Yeast creates alcohol. Every yeast I have in my recipe gives me an alcohol card. And some powers from people that you'll get say you can add more alcohol cards. Why is that important? You want to overbuild your deck so that when you shuffle them and you remove 2, the chances of the cards you need remaining in the deck is higher. Okay, you can also get cheap grains, mixed plants. Now you start paying for things. Well, I could get this card here. This says mixed fruit. And what do I need fruit for? Well, that produces sugar. I could use it for brandy. I might have unlocked gin that uses that as well. If those don't work, I default to vodka. Okay, or I could have gone for this card over here. This is a sugar. Okay, but this one cost me 5. That's a lot up front, but it gives me 2 points at the end, and it's going to give me $2 back once I use it. So really, it's only a 3-point card, essentially. And then you get these powers that you can upgrade as well. Okay, when you get these, this says during the selling phase, when I make my alcohol and I sell it, you may double the money received from a single flavor card. And then you're also going to get points here. It says you're going to get 1 point for every one of your aged labels. So you're not only encouraged to age for money, you're going to get 1 point from this card at the end of the game for everything you aged. So now I made a brandy. I get the person who gives me points for the brandy. This one doubles the points for aging the brandy. So now you're starting to get kind of like a synergy between your cards. And what do the flavor cards do? Well, every time I age it, I add a card here. Oh my goodness, here. Well, this says sweaty taste notes. I think I bought that. It doesn't give you any money, and it tastes like what I will smell like tomorrow. Okay, well, I've certainly lived that, especially after drinking. But this one here tastes like coffee. Okay, I almost thought about, naming the channel instead of board games and bourbon, coffee and something. But anyway, so $2 you're going to get when you make this. There are also cards that could double what you get off of these cards, right? So maybe I get 4. And again, because I have aging notes, it adds an extra point to the game. And I had done that the whole game, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rounds, I would have gotten 15 cards. Then I get all those. Remember, I just mix it up. I put it in here, pull out, voila. Now, I do have the choice to age. Like I said before, I could put something. Some require like a barrel here. It doesn't give me any benefit. Or I could have gone for the barrel here. Once again, it cost me some money, but I get a point, and I get an extra point every round if I spend money. Some recipes are going to require you to use a clay barrel. They're just going to require different vessels. Lastly, when you're selling it, you need to sell it to the public. So you can sell it here in this general container, which is a glass bottle. But I could have also gone for something like this. And this right here is a wax sealed bottle, right? Kind of recalling Maker's Mark there. And this says, when selling, I gain 2 points. If it's an American spirit, gain 4 points instead. That's important. So I'm from Scotland. I wouldn't want the America's bottle. Maybe I do. I'd get 2 points. Maybe it's worth it. But at the end of the game, every bottle that matches the country I'm from, again, it escalates, kind of like the aging, and you get more points. And that's essentially the whole game. It moves pretty fast. You're thinking about your own path. The game in multiplayer mode is essentially multiplayer solitaire. It's not an engine builder. It's an ability grower. And it's multiplayer solitaire. Now, that actually bodes well for the solo mode, because the solo mode, there's really nothing new to learn there. However, you're not playing against an AI. You're playing against this lineup of cards that kind of looks like a bunch of barrels, right? They look like barrels individually, but together it's kind of in the shape of a barrel. And what you have to do in this game is you have to still have 7 rounds. You have to defeat a goal card from every row. You defeat one card and unlocks the cards next to it for you to access. You have a get out of jail card where you can switch cards. It can help your path. But beyond having 7 rounds and goals, you're trying to synergize what goals you're trying to complete multiple, maybe in one turn, one action. But the cards also have numbers on them. So let's do an example here. All right, let's say you defeat this card here. This says sell a spirit worth at least 20 points. Wow. Okay, so what does that mean? That means you would have had to age your card. You have to get one of the bigger ones. Let's say it's like the rum here that's worth 11. And then I would have had to have aged it for 4 rounds for 10 more points. Okay, then make it 21 points, something along that. But with this card here, if I actually beat it, see that 12 at the bottom? That means I would need at least 12 points in the game. That doesn't sound bad, but there's some of the cards, the A cards, you have to beat that are killer. These cards here say collect 4 aged spirits. Okay, again, I synergized it with getting perhaps my rum or something like that. But here, this is going to require 70 points. Wow, my score just jumped up quite a bit. I found that very challenging indeed there. So some of the things it is and is not. It is not an engine builder. It is a expanding tableau of abilities. It is not a simulation. I've seen some headlines that call this both a simulation and a push your luck game. It is neither simulation nor push your luck. It's not a simulation, and that's a good thing because simulations really kind of stay on the tracks, kind of route when you're playing it. Here, you're making ingredients. It's highly thematic, I would say, but not a simulation because you're getting your ingredients. You're seeing what comes out. I can't just get mixed fruit and end up at the end of the day with either rum or vodka. That's not how it works, okay? But still, it's along those lines and it's kind of fun. It's not a push your luck game in that, push your luck is something like Farkle or craps, where you keep going over and over. You see how far you can push it, right? There is chance, and you are hedging your bet by building your deck, and you do want to overbuild it. So there is a bit of a gamble, but it's not push your luck necessarily. The decision points, like I talked about, are going to be, do I go for selling something short term to get my points and maybe some money so that I can do further things? Or do I delay that gratification? Hurts me maybe this round in short term, but next round pays off twice as much. What ingredients do I get? Do I go for the inexpensive one, the more expensive one? There's kind of this yin and yang to everything you do there. And who do I think is going to like this game? Something about this, and it's not because they're both by Stonemaier Games. Something about this struck me as a game that people who like Wingspan would like. And I think it's because how easy the cards are to understand, the level of complexity, and a little bit of the luck of the draw. And that, in Wingspan, you roll some dice, you get the treats, whatever the dice say. Here, you flip over a card, you don't know what you might get. You don't know what flavor. The flavor may or may not give you money. From your hand, you're removing 2 and looking at the rest. You don't know quite what's there. A little bit of a surprise in there. But also I thought people who like viticulture would like it because the process of making this is kind of fun. I get the people, I get the vessels, I get the ingredients, I get the recipes and make it work. It's kind of like in viticulture, where you get the land, you get the grapes, you age it, you do this thing. Not a worker placement, but still rubs that feel. And I have a lot of people, my friends, who enjoy the process of going and making their thing. I started here and I ended up with bottle. Oh, that's kind of cool. They literally play not to win, just to have that feeling. And you're going to get that feeling here. So again, that is Distilled. That's a and I got to tell you once again, it's a fun game, of course, but the production, man, top notch. I can't believe it's an independent game. Distilled, that's by Paverson. It's on Kickstarter now. I don't know how much longer it's going. I think I heard that it's like $85 for the base game. Maybe 100 for the blow up one. Don't quote me on that. I have to double check that. I'm not sure what the stretch goals are. I think they're going to try to introduce other countries and other continents into the mix, other than what you have here. You have moonshine, vodka, gin, whiskey, rum, all the way down. Some of the elements have already changed, like this board here that keeps track. If score goes from 1 to 100, it's going to be 1 to 50, and you get a token that says 50. And then the separate little board over here, which I actually quite like. It's a recipe book and then a little shelf display of ingredients is going to be combined there. But overall, everything else is going to be just like here. And I got to tell you, not only was the craftsmanship in making the game good, the art good, the vision to make it is great because, when you see these little player mats, and I'm going to pull this all off here to show you. when we look here at this board, you have a little rick house. But I don't know if you notice this round shape over here on the left side, that's the side of a barrel. You might not notice that, but that's a really great little touch. When you go over here to your discard area, get rid of your cards, that's a delivery truck. Just lots of great stuff in there. Okay, so again, if you have questions about gameplay, let me know. Happy to help you. And until next time, friends, be well. Bye.